Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. We are once again working on our micro carrier in Stormworks. Right now I'm just kind of giving you guys a little sneak peek at what is to come. I got some guns mounted here. These are definitely not finished, but that's kind of what they're going to look like. So I just figured I'd show that off. Also a little bit of sailing and rough seas. I know some of you have been asking for that. Not too much, but in this one, we got a little bit of an exciting one for you. We are going to work on a server room, and that server room in turn is going to turn into the self-destruct system for the ship. So if you guys want to see that, it's pretty cool. I add what I think is going to be a very, very cool self-destruct system to the ship. Stick around, I'll show it off in the end. It'll definitely get a lot more detailed towards the end when the ship is more completed, but at the end of this video, I'll show off what it does, how it works, and how you guys can use it yourself. But enough of that. If you like the series, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and come back for more. I'm going to keep making these videos, keep posting these until we get our ship done and get it on the workshop so you guys can play with it. But in the meantime, we are just working on our ship. So like I said, in this one, we're going to be kind of checking out a server room and setting up a self-destruct sequence for the ship. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to let the build roll a little bit. The self-destruct system is a little bit more complex than most of them. So I'm going to let us get a little bit in with the build, and then I will talk to you guys about why it's different and what you need to do to use it, as well as what it's going to do to the ship, because it's going to do quite a lot of different weird things to the ship. So. All right, so we got the main door to the server room, and you see that it's a lockable door, so we're going to have a keyword or a keypad password to it. That is going to have a password that is going to be painted on a block you can see in the other side of the room. So funny enough, this room is kind of a little bit more complex than it sees than it's going to look, and I'm going to explain that as we build it. A lot of the room itself is just kind of paint blocks details, but there's the password. I hide this a little bit better later on, but you see the stairs behind with that green little, now that's a passageway that you can walk through, and that gives you access to the backside of the room when the blast door to the storage ammo is completely closed. So that fenced area is where the blast door slides into when it opens. So the server room is kind of up against the elevator, the inside elevator, if you kind of understand what I'm talking about here. So this is a secret entrance to the server room that you don't need a password to get into. I thought it would be kind of fun to have like a little secret entrance go away, go around puzzle kind of thing. Anyways, there's going to be a lot of that on this ship. This specific area, at the time, I was just playing a lot of Cyberpunk, so I was kind of inspired by that. I wanted to have a cooler than normal self-destruct sequence on the ship. So you're going to break into the server room, you're going to log into the server, and then you are going to be able to click a lockable button that is essentially going to hack the ship. And what it's going to do is it's going to set off a live munition in the weapon bay, as well as it's going to cause chaos with a lot of the screens. A lot of the screens are going to flash and flicker. And then it's going to make certain pipes burst, alarms go off, lights flicker, that kind of thing. So it's going to have a lot of like weird effects to the ship. It's not going to just sink the ship. It's going to essentially, if you will, hack the ship and make a lot of the electronic systems go very weird and haywire. I thought this was just kind of another fun way to add some detail to the ship. So I'm kind of just doing some decoration right now in the background. I'm making what is supposed to be a server rack. Right now this kind of looks pretty bad and I change it, but it's a process. You just kind of play around with blocks until you're happy with how they look. I wasn't happy with the door frames on the outside, so I changed most of this wall to actual individual, just what looked like DIMM drives. Now, it's not going to be super correct in the sense of a server room. Like, I'm not going to make an individual, like, router and all of that. It's just kind of going to be a wall full of what look like hard drives. But you guys get the point. It's not really the main point of the ship. This room is not going to get used for anything else other than logging in and blowing the ship up. So it's not really going to be seen that much. And I just kind of wanted it to make it look okay. And so you see here, I built these blank frames, and I'm just going to color them in black where I think drive is, or we're basically just going to decorate the whole wall like this. And I think it's just a simple, easy way. It kind of looks like a server room. It kind of doesn't, whatever. But I didn't want to put too much thought into the paint blocks in this room. There are quite a few paint blocks, but I wasn't going to go through and make 4 or 5 different actual stacks of computers. It's just not that big of a deal. And so a lot of you also might be wondering, why am I adding a self-destruct system? And the answer to that, and the answer to a lot of the features in the ship, is just because it's fun. It's a pretty common feature in Stormworks to have like a scuttle button or something like that. I think with this being a large warship, we might as well spice it up a little, do something a little different maybe. And with that, I figured, we could just do this like hacking system. But beyond that, I didn't really know what to do with this space, and I figured we could cram like a little closet in here. And then it came to me that I don't have like an actual server room per se, which a ship this size probably wouldn't have one that is also this size. But for just kind of fun purposes, we're going to pretend like it does, because in a real carrier, obviously there's going to be a lot of computers. And while we're discussing a little bit, I might as well talk about the guns a little bit in the beginning of the episode. So in the last episode, I talked about me working on a targeting system, and in the background, that's kind of what I was working on. I was showing off the guns that I plan on mounting to the ship. So each side of the ship is going to have a rotary autocannon and 2 heavy autocannons on each side. And then on the top, it's going to have a 360-degree swivel double light autocannon for anti-air purposes. So those guns weren't the finished guns. They were just kind of to show off where they'll be, what they kind of look like. So just keep that in mind. We'll come back to that later, and I'll talk to you guys a lot more in depth about how the guns work in the targeting system, that kind of stuff. But I just figured, well, I'm mostly just painting paint blocks in this episode, so I figured I might as well talk a little bit about the other features of the ship. So, I mean, while we're on that same discussion, the rest of this floor, which we'll get to way later on, I actually do the floor above a lot just because it's the main ship, or the main floor on the ship. But the rest of this floor is going to have a prison cell, a laundry room, a kind of boarding area, I guess, for like if you take on like stowaways, rescues, that kind of stuff. So there's going to be like a seating area with some basic gear, that kind of stuff. And then there's also, as you guys saw previously, there's going to be access to our hot water tank down below also. So that's all going to be in this floor. Just keep that in mind. We got to cram quite a few other things into this floor. And then the floor above this is going to be bunk rooms. There's going to be a crane. There's going to be a bathroom, shower room, some ballast controls, the engine room. The floor above this is basically like the main floor of the ship. And then above that, we'll get into like the hangar bay. And the hangar bay floor is going to have like a armory. It's going to have a quartermaster room. It's probably going to have like some sort of medical facility or gym. Yeah, I know right now it already has a bathroom. And then the floor above that which is going to be right below the flight deck. That is going to be a meeting room and probably a mess hall, as well as like a bathroom. There's an anchor, the anchor room is up there as well. So that's kind of just like a general layout for what a lot of the area of the ship's going to be. I know I talked a little bit about it in the last episode, but yeah, I'm coming to a point in the build where the layout is a little bit more permanent now, so I can kind of share these things comfortably knowing that they're not going to change too much. Right now I'm just kind of adding like this little ceiling decoration to the server room. Again, this is not supposed to be like a realistic server room. Plus, another side part of that conversation, a lot of my ships are not really, for the purpose of them, they're not really built in the present day. I built them to in my mind, more like a near future timeline. So, not very far in the future, but a good 15, 20 years in the future. So that's kind of why that looks kind of goofy. It's not really supposed to look realistic. And again, it's more so just to kind of be like a fun little puzzle for you to blow up the ship if you want. When I make these ships, I try to keep in mind like people playing different like game modes on them. It's kind of a good way to put it. So I try to incorporate a lot of play features for the ships in a way that I know people are going to be inclined to use them. So like if you are playing with a friend, everybody likes sinking your friend's boat. So these kind of features are just awesome features you should have. Just like emergency power mode, just like lifeboats, that kind of thing. This game is really centered around rescue missions. And the other part of it, if you have the DLC, is really about blowing stuff up / sinking ships. So I think a lot of these weird little play features like this are fun. Later on, I also add a scavenger hunt. And I talked last episode about some of the medals and name tags that I put on the lockers and stuff. I think little stuff like that is a really good way to kind of incorporate like a little bit of a play factor, if you will, to the ship you're making. And so my ships a lot of times end up being a combination of both career mission friendly. So I like to put a lot of cranes and, cargo capabilities, storage capabilities, seating, health, that kind of stuff. I like to add a lot of those kind of features, as well as we're playing creative mode kind of features like, gun stations and weapons and sinking ships and different control stations where you can override, like rudders or the ballast or stuff like that, where you can just hop, for more or less a better term, where you can just hop on this ship with your friend, and your ship or your friend could be driving it, and you can just cause chaos if you want. That's what I want, essentially. Well, I'm just about adding some of the finishing touches to this room now. I'm just kind of closing this off a little bit, try to make it seem a little bit harder to break into, even though it's extremely easy to break into. The only other thing we need to really add to the room is like I'm going to add some screens and then like the login console. So the login console is going to be the same thing as like the keypad. You put in 2 specific numbers, they're hooked up to a threshold, it'll open up that button. Click that button, that's the hack the ship button. That's when bad things will start happening. And that goes into like a timer. So you have like a cooldown and an alarm and stuff like that. So, and this goes for pretty much all of the things that are going to have a lock on it in the ship. If a door has a lock on it, I'm going to hide the password somewhere on the ship. So it'll also probably be in the workshop description, so you can get it there. But if you look around enough, it should be on a paint block. All of the paint blocks look the same. They all look like a sticky note. So all of the passwords that you need, you should be able to find regardless of what you're trying to do. So that means the armory, that means getting into the server room, that means logging into the server room. So all these will be labeled. So don't worry about that. I don't put them, right in your face, but they are hidden a little bit, not in an absurdly hidden place. You can find them relatively easy. But yeah, just keep that in mind. A lot of people kind of always usually have that question of, oh, where's the passwords? And that's always what I've done. So that, or I will put the password number right on the keypad name. And I know I've done that in the past too, but this one, I just go with the sticky notes. And right here, I'm just trying to add like a little weird electrical box for some reason. But yeah, this is just about our finished server room now. I'm just going to... Well, I thought I was going to add a rope there, but I guess not. I don't think there's a rope there. But we still need to add this console table, and that's pretty simple. It's going to have a bunch of screens, but the screens aren't really going to do anything. I'm going to just write a quick little Lua screen that kind of has like a login, and then a like a boot menu, and then it'll just kind of flash red and say danger. And we're going to run that through a lot of the screens on the ship. So later on, when you go to use the self-destruct screen, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a couple minutes when I go to show off how it works. But when you use it, you're going to notice that these are going to flash red. Well, most of the other screens on the ship are also going to flash red. So the people in the bridge are immediately going to know that like there's something wrong. Like there's going to be warnings pretty much everywhere. There's going to be broken pipes everywhere. There's going to be noises everywhere, and there's going to be explosions. So I think it'll be a cool, fun way to do it, and we'll show that off in just a second. I'm just about done with the building in this episode. So I know this episode was a little bit slower, so if you guys did make it to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But like I said, this is just all the building we're going to do. I'll get into the numbers in a second, but I want to show this off. So here we are in the real world. We're going to just kind of look through the window and stuff. And I'm going to come down here and add lights again. I know it's kind of dark. That was the hallway I'm talking about. Right? I don't know what that was. That was just Stormworks. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. But yeah, you can sneak right in here. You can walk in. There's the password, 1863. That'll get you into the server room. You probably want to unlock that before you blow the ship up, by the way. And you turn the console on. We have this nice login screen. And then you go ahead and put 12 into A and 62 into B. And you should be good. You just click this button. And so that flashing danger screen, that will be applied to most screens. But there it is, guys. That's the end of the episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.